Hey, quick market update. It's Greg Gale. It's Monday the 17th. We're currently seeing the market after a couple weeks of rates sharply declining, which has been great. We've had some reports that came out that bumped rates up a little bit. We've got some reports coming this week in regards to new housing starts and permits. So that'll be some good data. We've seen an increase in applications, mostly because rates have been coming down, and now most people are realizing that the payments for the mortgages that they want are very sustainable. And a lot of the adjustable rate mortgages are becoming more attractive because of the data that's coming out that says that we've probably got about a year or less until we'll ride out of the recession. And now typically what you see is rates decline during the recession. And so what you're going to see, and I'll share this graph right here, is during the last recessions, which is highlighted here in these darker shades, is notice how rates have come down each time during the recession. And the biggest thing to understand is right now, as we go through this, the reason for that is the right prior to the recession, what leads to it is the government forcing us through inflation. And inflation is almost allergic to interest rates, or rates is allergic to inflation. So as we drive inflation up, rates go up, and then the recession is set to curb and bring that inflation back down, which will then allow rates to come back down as well. So all these graphs make sense from that sheer economics of how the inflation drives to the recession. Recession then will bring down inflation. Inflation will then bring down the interest rates. So the adjustable rate products have become more attractive because most experts say that we're within 12 months of the finish line to bring rates down, and that would open up the opportunity to refinance. So having a 5-year cushion of a very attractive interest rates where they're in the fives to make that payment more accessible. You can also use seller concessions right now with what's happening in the market, because the sellers are still willing to give some of those concessions. But as demand continues to increase, like we've seen over the past maybe 10 to 14 days, you're going to see less and less inventory, which means with more demand comes less supply, which means it moves from being more of a buyer's market to a seller's market. And so those concessions will start to go away. So right now is kind of that perfect storm for a buyer, because you can get an attractive interest rate in the fives, low sixes, depending on the program and how much you're putting down. And if you're going to do a 5-year ARM versus a 30-year fixed, if it's an investment property, a second home, or a primary. But more importantly is you can get those seller concessions right now with the attractive interest rates. This article in here that I'm going to link down below is talking about how the Fed is almost there to the recession, which is great news, because once again, as these indicators show you, we're going to see this dip in interest rates. Look, 18 to 13, 11 to 8.75, 7 to 6, 3 to 2. Even during the pandemic, they still came down. And we're going to see that where they've driven them so high up, where we touched even into the 8s during this inflationary boom. We've now settled back down into the 6s. I don't think it's that it's not within reach to get into those lower 5s or 4s by the end of this in the 12 months. So if you could lock in a 5-year term on a good interest rate that gives you that nice payment, knowing that in 12 to 15 months you could refinance into a longer 30-year fixed, even take that savings and move that towards paying down more principal to have less interest long-term on the loan. So there's a lot of cool calculators that I have as a mortgage specialist. And if you want me to run specific numbers for you, just reply back and we can schedule a quick call. I can run the numbers, send it in a PDF, do a shared screen on Zoom, leveraging this technology to make it more about the math and very factual versus the fear-based fiction that's out there a lot just to bait you in to click on stuff. I'll give you the real deal. All right, well, I appreciate you tuning in for this market update. Look forward to working with you in the future.